Welcome to Healing Your Family Legacy, here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. Innovative, evidence-based recovery that helps to identify intergenerational trauma, allowing for freedom and embracement of the healing process. Today, episode 67, Religious Addiction, Part 2. And now your host, Dr. Donna Bevan-Lee.
And this is Dr. Donna Bevan-Lee, helping you heal your family legacy. Okay, today I need to warn you that I'm picking up from last time because we do tape two shows at a time. And what I was talking about last time was religious addiction, and I'm going to continue to talk about that today. Religious addiction, let me just remind you, is when you behave in a way that, whatever, good, bad, indifferent, but blame it on God. That's a religious addiction. I can't help myself. God made me this way. Like in my practice, I couldn't believe how many people would tell me that. They would say, well, I can't help it. This is just how I was made. Okay. That is not a good excuse. It is not a reason. It's a rationalization for bad behavior. Now, in my practice, because I specialized in addictions, religious addiction and people who had religious addictions were in my office, as a matter of fact. And some of them were clergy. And what were they doing there? Every single one of them had acted out with women in there, because I say women because the ones that were in my office were all men, because they were acting out sexually with women in their congregation. And this was such a huge problem that I know for a fact that there are treatment facilities in the country that will treat clergy for sex addiction. And they do it at either half price or no price. Why? Because they have such a huge influence over people. These are clergy. These are people who, they say you go out and you make sure that, abortion rights or woman's right to choose becomes illegal again. And people will dutifully walk out and kill a doctor who helps women make choices in their lives that will be better for them. This is the kind of influence that clergy has. It is about power and control. It has nothing to do with spirituality. It has nothing to do with ethics. It has to do with power and control. Okay? So that's a religious addiction. So here's a religious addiction of a clergy who, goes out and has sex with women in their congregation, which is, so inappropriate. All right? That would be like me going out and having sex with people that I work with. Hey, I'm going to go to jail for that. That's against the law. It's not just against my ethics or the code of ethics that my professional organization has. That's just against the law. And if I do it, I would absolutely go to prison. Clergy does it. They don't go to prison. They have more influence than I will ever have. Why? Because I don't go around saying that God told me to do this. God's word is this. So I just say, I've read the research, I've read the journals, I've gone to school forever. I've had experience. That's all I say. I don't tell anybody, well, God has spoken to me and told me to tell you to do this. If I did that, people would laugh their heads off. They'd never come back. But clergy, they do that, and people dutifully walk out and do exactly what they tell them to do. So the clergy has the addiction power, and believe me, power is a huge addiction. People will do things over and over and over again in spite of harmful consequences. Do you remember me talking about addiction? It's doing something over and over and over again in spite of harmful consequences. Tucker Carlson, are you listening to this? Supreme Court, are you listening to this? And guess what? My good Mormon mother even said this to me one day. She and my father went on a Mormon mission because they do that as old people. And they went and they did a Mormon mission when they were old. And so they were in, oh my God, Las Vegas, south of Las Vegas. That was their mission. Talk about addictions are us. Okay. So I was talking to my mother one day when she would call me on the phone to find out how things were going. And I was concerned about them, of course. And she was telling me about these people that she was working with and how most of them were drug addicts. And they told her all the time that, well, we're going to quit this and we're going to join the Mormon church. And then we're going to be, they were just shining my mother on. Why? Because my mother brought them cookies and did all that kind of stuff. And so one day on the phone, she said to me, Donna, I have discovered that addicts lie. I just couldn't believe she said that to me out loud. Okay, we have so many addicts in our family. I'm one. And when I was in my addiction, I did lie. But when I say that addicts lie, and then I talked about the Supreme Court justices that are, going to make it illegal for me to make choices about my own body, I thought they do lie. I was listening on the news. The most recent Supreme Court appointees, 3 of them, that are going to make this decision for all of us, each one of them, right there, under oath, said, the law of the Supreme Court, the law of the land, and this has been true. It's been women's right to choose for 50 years, and there's no reason to change. They all lied under oath so that they could get power and control. And now they're going to have power. They're trying to get power and control over our bodies as a result. Addicts lie. Comey Barrett is a religious addict. She doesn't think for herself. I don't care whether she went to law school at the most prestigious law school in the world. It doesn't matter what your educational status is. Addicts lie. Whether you're PhDs, whether you're lawyers, whether you're MDs. If you're an addict, you lie, and she is an addict. I bet that woman doesn't do anything that's out of bounds with her Catholic upbringing and her Catholic beliefs. That's not spirituality. That's religious dogma. And she has a right to that. I don't care. She can believe whatever she wants, as long as she doesn't put it on me. Just like I can believe whatever I want. You don't have to buy it, but I don't have the control and the power to make you believe what I believe. I'm just asking you to think it through with the good brains that you were born with common sense that says, do we really need laws to control women's bodies. Can women really not make good choices about our bodies? It's not about that. It's about power and control. It's about a religious addiction, many religious addictions that say you can't make good choices for yourself. Hey, I have to have a commandment telling me not to kill because I can't figure that out for myself. I have to have a commandment that says I shouldn't do bad things. I can't figure that out for myself. I have to have a commandment to go so that I won't go and steal something. I don't need a commandment for that. It makes perfect sense not to do that in a civilized world. By the way, which Donna Bevan-Lee does not believe we live in a civilized world right now. We're on the verge of destroying it ourselves. We're doing it interestingly. Okay, we're going to take women's rights away to determine whether or not they have control over their bodies. We're going to let, huge corporations decide whether or not we're going to save our planet. We have a madman who's waging war on the Ukraine, leveling the entire country, killing everybody and everything in sight. Yeah, that's moral. Why aren't they as mad about that? Why don't they make choices about what they're going to do about that? It's inconsistent and unpredictable. And you've heard me talk about what human beings don't manage well is when it's inconsistent and unpredictable. When I wake up in the morning 2 days ago and I still have control over my body, I feel like, okay, I can manage the rest of this and I can do the best I can do for the people in Ukraine, and I can do the best I can do for my patients, and I can do the best I can do for people that need me. And then I wake up in the morning, or I didn't even get to bed the other night. When I'm looking at the news before I go to bed, which I've already told you don't do that, but I do it anyway sometimes. And I did the other night, and I was up all night because I woke up in the morning and I had control over my own body. By nighttime, I was being threatened with not having control over my own body. That was upsetting. It was very upsetting. And any woman listening to this might want to think about that. Because if I don't have control over my own body, and our Supreme Court thinks that we should live in the way that we did in 1776, that means that I won't be able to stay married to my wife. I won't have rights. It'll be okay to kill a queer for Christ. I saw that a lot when I was young. Bumper stickers. Kill a queer for Christ. That means my life is going to be threatened every single day of my life because of who I am as a woman, as a lesbian. It means that I'll lose the right that I have to vote because I'm a woman. That is only 100 years old. That's not very long. That means that if I have a grandchild who's a female, she might not get the right to get birth control. It means that, like a dear friend of mine in the 70s, before, gay rights was there, she lost custody of her 2 children because she was gay, and she never got to see them again. I'm not going to lose custody of my son. He's a grown man. He would never turn his back on me. I'm lucky that way. Maybe not so lucky. He was raised by me. James, you're your own man. I raised him to be his own man. How about we're already losing, there are groups of people whose right to vote is already being threatened. And so if I lose all my rights, which this is worse than a slippery slope, is all you have to do is think about it. Is all you have to do is look at history. Every time somebody takes away another person's rights, someone else is in line to get their rights taken away. And I think that at this point, most of the Supreme Court and the super far right really want us to be operating in 1776. They probably want black slaves. They probably got them picked out. They probably think, that if a woman has sex, that she should have a big A on her chest or just burn her at the stake. That'll be all right. I'm probably going to be one of the first. And, black men will still have the right to vote over women, but then they'll lose their right to vote too. And black women don't count at all, and neither do the indigenous people. All right? We are going backwards, and we blame it on God. God wants this. Well, I'll tell you what, if I'm God, I am royally pissed. And, I don't really see God as an angry God, but I think that if I was God, I'd probably feel kind of like the way I felt when my son was bullied because he stood up for me when he was in the 2nd grade. Because someone called me a bad name because I was gay. And he didn't even know really what that meant, but he knew it was bad. So he stood up for me because he got bullied for that. And I was livid, on fire. I suspect that all of us being God's children, that if a whole group of people who seem to have privilege are going to bully a whole bunch of other people, I'd probably be pissed about that. I'm not an angry woman. Well, I am today, but most of the time I'm not angry. I help people. I do the best I can do to be a good person. I'm a pretty happy person by nature, right? But if I was God right now, I'd be pissed. And you know what I'd do? I'd send tornadoes through the places where it was the most prevalent, where that hatred was the most prevalent. I'd sink them. I would send more pandemics to them. I would be angry. We're all going to suffer. But you know what? The only time I was ever in a tornado, I was in the freaking South. Okay? I've lived in Utah, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington. No tornadoes ever come after me. No hurricanes have ever come after me. I'd be mad. I'd let people know. Now I know that's goofy, but in my mind, that's one of the ways that I say, okay, I'm not going to hurt people. But here's another issue about rights. That people think that it's a God-given right to carry a gun. A God-given right to carry a gun. It's a God-given responsibility for me to take, not me personally, but to, the Supreme Court to take away my right to choose. Because killing, having an abortion would be quote unquote, air quotes here, killing somebody. But it's okay that you can buy guns and kill more people that way than abortions ever do. Does that make sense? Let's use our God-given brain. Think about that. Does that really make sense? that you can have an arsenal in your house that could take out hundreds of people. But if I want to choose what I do to my own body, that you're going to take that right away from me. That is insane. I'm just saying, use your brain. Like my mother said, use your head for something besides something to keep your ears apart. Think about that. And think about what I said about bullying, because it is the big bully. Right now, the Supreme Court is being a big fat bully. And I just want to say, you know my opinions by now, but another opinion I have is that whoever leaked this should get a Medal of Honor. They took a huge chance. Might get him killed. Might have him thrown in jail. I don't know what the rules are about that. But I'll tell you what, that person is brave. That person is one of the bravest people in my lifetime. That was brave and courageous. And I honor them, and I want them to know that whatever trauma happens as a result, I'm a trauma expert. They can call on me. I'll be behind them. I'll help them, whatever they need. I know I'm not the only one. But most of this stems from a religious addiction. And that is, this is what God says, and that's what I should do. I should kill you. I should put you in jail. I should take away your rights because God says so. And why does God say so? Because I sense that it takes power and control away from me. Well, okay, have your own power and your own control about your own bodies and your own lives. As long as you don't hurt anybody else, that's all it means. Like, I grew up Christian. I still believe in that ethical reality. It wasn't complicated then. It's not complicated now. Treat each other like you would, like you want to be treated. If you want someone else to tell you what to do with your body, go for it. Say, okay, I don't have my own brain. I don't know enough to make decisions about my own body. I better leave it up to you. If that is your belief, then you better be what they call pro-life. I'm pro-life, by the way. Just because I believe that life is precious, but I don't need someone to control my body. That's not even what that's about. But if you really believe that you can't make those choices for yourself, then I would say go ask someone else to do it. But don't take away my right to control my own life or to control my own body. Don't try and shame me or put me in jail or make me a criminal because I want to my own God-given rights to make my own decisions about myself. That's all I'm saying here. This religious addiction kills people. I say, I have friends, I have relations, I have many friends who go to churches. And I say, great. They find a sense of community there. And I say, great. We all need community. But the ones they go to, don't tell them to go out and take away people's rights. The ones they go to are the ones that say, we need to help people who are needing our help. Okay? People, human beings that are on the earth. Those are the ones that need help. not some idea. Not an egg. Right? Religion has its place in the world. It always has. But spirituality is about your own ethical beliefs and the behavior. So I don't know how you can say you have a Christian ethic and do ugly, bad, hurtful, harmful things to anybody else, regardless of who they are. And I just want to close this with, if I've turned you off or, made you mad, that maybe I've hit a nerve. Instead of turning me off and not listening to my podcast anymore, maybe you could spend a little meditation time thinking about, why does it make me so mad? Is she trying to take my rights away? See you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Healing Your Family Legacy here on the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. This channel is made possible because of listeners just like you. If you would like to support the channel with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. Healing Your Family Legacy is copyright 2022, Dr. Donna Bevan-Lee, all rights reserved. Our theme music is composed by Dave Croft and used with permission. The Experience of the Soul podcast channel is a production of 818 Studios.
Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The SoulWorks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. SoulWorks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the SoulWorks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.